All right, Nnamdi.
Yes.
For a while now, it seems as if there is an existential problem for Igbos in the diaspora. And this issue is not just coming because they are not behaving well. It's not coming because they are into any one form of crime or the other. These issues are coming because some people want to be king in another man's land. They call it Igbo in Pakistan. Igbo in Kuala Lumpur. Igbo in Accra or whatever place they find themselves. From the home here, Igbo organizations like Ohaneze have been kicking against this, monarchs outside Igbo land. But our people out there don't want to listen. And it's causing them serious problems. Look at what took place in South Africa. Properties were lost, not just for the Igbos, including other settlers. We nearly had the same clash in Ghana. That should be last year. I want you to reason with me. Yes. Do you think we should continue this? I don't know what to call it.
I think there is that saying back home in many ways which does not usually translate or does not usually mean that there is no form of connection in an Igbo or that people do not have a way of organizing. So there is that saying in many ways. So I don't know why we are pushing or we are exporting this basic culture elsewhere.
When we don't even...
When we agree,
it's not part of us.
It's not part of us. But then it's a narrative that is beginning to have shape or even take place among our people, especially those who are living elsewhere, being hosted by other communities than Igbo. Now, it reminds me something. You see, I always blame it on colonial system, the setup. I said that Igbo, it doesn't mean, or as it were, in pre-colonial times, it didn't mean that the Igbo did not have a way of organizing. What we didn't have there were monarchs.
Absolutely.
Monarchs, because monarchy will give in to absolutism. And that's why Igbo will always say, we never had that. So the problem here is that people are willing to export certain things, maybe with whatever agenda they may have in their mind, but which is even antithetic to the philosophy of Igbo. Even if you are to talk about the manifest destiny of Igbo, it's nowhere near it. You follow my point now. And sometimes you begin to ask yourself, why is it that the same thing we know that the white man tried to do here, and it culminated in Aba women revolt or protest? Why is it that people are now moving to it? Because we are even talking about Ghana. It happened in Lagos. And the so-called Igbo in Lagos is still languishing in detention as we speak now. So I think what we need now is to have this conversation. We need to be true to re-engineer minds so that our people will know that when you are in another man's land, you behave and submit to their laws.
All right.
That said again, you see, I have a problem. The Igbo has actually excelled. If you look at the period the Igbo excelled better, 1950s, 1960s. Not that we are not excelling now, we are doing more now, but I'm saying that the period the Igbo excelled as a group with an agenda, with a focus, with a direction. Then there was nothing like Igbo in Kafanchan, but the Igbo were building schools in Kafanchan.
Through their
unions. They were building other things, they were helping themselves, even empowering people to do scholarship schemes and what have you. Outside their age and defense. So tell me, what has this age system brought to us?
I think the thing is that there's a word in Igbo, let me say it in English so that others will understand.
Yeah.
As an ammonia conductor, when you make a madman a conductor, he gesticulates himself into problem. He keeps gesticulating, thinking he's calling passengers. Some of these people you refer to as monarchs, as in Igbo here and there. Personally, I know that they are Ofekes. Sorry if you are not Igbo, you don't understand what Ofeke means. Ofeke simply means an indigenous stranger, one who is not accustomed to how things are done from where he returns from. You see, originally, historically, Igbos are not monarchical people. No. We don't have anything to do with monarchy. No. We are republicans. Majority of the African nations today used to be kingdoms, empires, ruled by mighty kings. You go to Mali, you see it.
Yes, you go to Songhai,
you know, you see all of them. When you go to a place like Kenya, Ghana, these are countries that have history of monarchy.
Yes.
You come to their land, you say you are crowning an Igbo in Accra, Igbo in Ashanti, Igbo wherever you want to do it. They will feel threatened because they understand what monarchy should be. It means control, total control, territorial control, and everything. To them, that's what we are coming to do. And this is a time our people need to re-strategize and understand that we cannot come to another man's land and change their way of doing things. You should use your own, but don't use it. That's why everything we supposed let me give you a point. Everything we're supposed to do as Igbos need to be written, and it's written in Igbo philosophy that should be in our mind. Igbo used to say, there is another Igbo philosophy, Igbo worldview that says, how can you now begin to make a meeting in a place you are just a sojourner? You are just a visitor. I think we need to come back for it. I think the director is giving me a sign. We go for a break and then we'll come back and then you have a lot to say because there's no need of us wasting time. I don't know. That's what we should do. I think let's just go ahead. We're back.